Get ready for a little bit trippy of a video because this week, Dudesy AI put out a brand new comedy special by George Carlin. For those of you younglings that don't know, George Carlin was one of the greatest, most impactful comedians that ever lived. And he's obviously dead now, but this AI came out with a comedy special by him titled I'm Glad I'm Dead. The delivery, the timing, the nuance was so on point. It was his style. He was one of my favorite comedians. I've listened to pretty much every special of his, and I gotta say, it made me miss him because it sounded like him, and I would love to have listened to what George Carlin would have to say on this situation. But it started a discussion, a national discussion, not just in the comedy world, but people were discussing the implications of this creative process of art, of comedy being created with AI that passes the test. Now, some of you are going to watch the video and I'm going to link it in the description, and you're going to think maybe it's not funny. I listened to all of George Carlin's stuff, and I could tell you it's funny. Subjectively, I know that comedy is subjective. Now, I do have some experience in comedy. When I was 19, 20 years old, I used to mess around with open mics. I won some low-level competitions. It's not to say I'm a great comedian, but it's just to say I feel like I'm credible in giving an opinion on this topic. But what I want to discuss first, before we jump into the pros and cons of this type of AI content, is I want to mention we don't know how much of this creation was human involved. So did some comedians, did some people with a great sense of humor use AI as a tool to create this? Or was this all created with AI? This is something that I will be really interested to learn. But for those that know comedy, it is deeply rooted in personal experiences, in perspectives. The creative process is something that takes a lifetime to go ahead and perfect. And this is why a lot of people were shook and rattled by AI's capability to mimic it so easily and so well. And this begs the question, is this unethical? The fact that this individual or the team behind Dudesy AI is using George Carlin's likeness without his consent. I mean, the guy's dead. They can't get his consent. But what does this mean? Should they share revenue with the estate? Should stuff like this not be allowed? Is this disrespecting the legacy of one of the greatest comedian legends that ever lived? Are we losing the human touch? Is this a slippery slope to rendering all of the arts obsolete? These are the questions, and these are the reasons that the Writers Guild went on strike, right? And so a lot of people, they are saying that this is incredibly wrong. A lot of people, they don't even want to watch it. And if they do watch it, they have this rotten attitude about it and they say it's not funny and I don't know what the big deal is. And I'm telling you, I showed it to a few people. I watched all of it myself and I'm telling you, it's pretty damn funny. You should listen to it. Before I discuss some of the beneficial aspects of these types of creations to society potentially, what I want to show you is Kelly Carlin's take on the situation. She's the daughter of George Carlin, and here's what she had to say on X. She said, "My statement regarding the AI-generated George Carlin special. My dad spent a lifetime perfecting his craft from his very human life, brain, and imagination. No machine will ever replace his genius. The AI-generated products are clever attempts at trying to recreate a mind that will never exist again. Let's let the artist's work speak for itself. Humans are so afraid of the void that we can't let what has fallen into it stay there. Here's an idea. How about we give some actual living human comedians a listen to? But if you want to listen to the genuine George Carlin, he has 14 specials that you can find anywhere." So let's now put a more positive spin to this story and talk about the advantages of this type of technology. So first of all, this can push the boundaries of creativity. It can help to preserve the legacy of some of these genius staples in the comedy scene, right? It can replicate their style in contemporary times, which also means it's going to expose their genius to the new generation. And those new folks that are going to discover it, like those that have watched watch this AI generated George Carlin special, maybe they're inclined to now purchase the previous specials of the actual George Carlin. So this can actually help keep the legacy alive and in more recent times. Also, it makes comedy and it makes art more accessible, right? You can customize it. You can create comedy and art in different languages, cultures, etc. Some of the stuff that we find funny or we even allow in this country, other countries you can't say certain things, or it has to be written in a different way in order for it to go ahead and resemble the humorous aspect in English. And so if you can use a tool like AI to go ahead and accomplish that, that can be really, really interesting stuff. And let's not forget the objective of comedy, right? If you zoom out, the whole point is to create stress relief and happiness and have people connect that might feel isolated or alienated by society. They can just laugh at the absurd, right? And so in this way, it might be healthy because it makes it more accessible for them. It gives them more of it. AI can be quite prolific, not like actual individuals. For instance, George Carlin had like 14 specials out, but an AI, they can do this every single month. Now, of course, it might not be as funny, or with time, remember, all these tools are still in beta mode. With time, it might be even funnier. It might solve comedy and humor for us. It might be just like the text to image generators that everyone was laughing at like a year ago, and now they're amazing. They're better than contemporary artists, or they can create things just like contemporary artists do in their style as much as you want. So these are really important and interesting things to keep in mind. Personally, I feel like now there's going to be hybrid forms of comedy coming out. I think already a lot of comedians are thinking of certain premise or the way to structure their jokes by using ChatGPT and other text-to-text tools. So let's see exactly what happens moving forward. But personally, I'm excited for it. I think that this is going to continue to happen. If we disallow it, someone in another country is going to be making them, throwing them up on the internet. AI is out of Pandora's box. There's no way to put it back. And I know two comedians that no one is going to try to replicate: Carlos Mencia and Brendan Schaub. So with that being said, let me know in the comments section what you guys think. If you watched this special or you haven't yet, go watch it and then come back. Let's talk about it in the comment section. What does this mean for comedy? Did you find it to be funny? Is it ethical? Is it good or bad for society? I want to know. I'm going to respond to every single comment that comes through in the comment section. I'll see all of you in the next video.